Have you heard the phrase that nature abhors a vacuum? What does it mean? Well, abhors means dislikes, basically. The phrase itself is alleged to have come from Aristotle in ancient Greek times. Why am I telling you this? Well, because that phrase was proven to be, or was believed to be the case in science and philosophy for almost a couple of thousand years, and then eventually got disproven. But in the political arena and in the public space, it's still very much true. What it means is that when you have a vacuum of leadership, when you have a lack of direction, a lack of leadership, something will step in to replace that lack of leadership. And you're not always sure what that thing is going to be that's going to step in to replace the leadership. Why am I telling you all of this? Well, it's a slightly longer video, but please watch because I think it's important and I think it says something important. So in this country, in the UK, in England particularly, you have got a groundswell of public movements, populist movements. Probably the most prominent one is the one led by Tommy, the Unite the Kingdom movement, which put whatever numbers you want to put on it, a huge number of people on the streets of London on September the 13th this year. A very, very impressive turnout. And that movement and all of the associated links to that movement often get absolutely, in my view, completely unfairly slandered by the media and particularly unfairly slandered by the press. When you consider how many people were there that day, when you consider how many people were at the previous ones in July and then the start of the year and then last year, the numbers of arrests, any hint of violence, the fact that nobody wears masks, nobody is allowed to wear masks, the fact that everything is arranged completely in conjunction with the police and cooperation with the police, the fact that they have rubbish clearers on site that literally take away every bit of rubbish afterwards, leaving the place that whistle clean, would indicate that this is not the thuggish far-right movement that the government and much of the media would lead you to believe. It just simply isn't. So I would argue that we have a real dearth of leadership, a lack of leadership, a lack of direction in this country. And we're getting close to the point where we have a complete vacuum and that something is going to step into that vacuum to replace it. What is that something going to be? Well, we don't know yet. But the reality of the situation is it would be much better to be something like the political parties being led by Ben Habib or Rupert Lowe or Nigel Farage, or a populist street movement like Tommy, like the one led by Tommy, than it would be some of the movements that are starting in other countries. Just take a look at this, what's going on in Ireland.
To the people of Newry, Mourne and Down, we, the New Republican movement, have watched their councillors and MLAs over the past 12 months. The level of disrespect shown to the people who put you into power, this cannot be ignored any longer. We are proud men of Ireland, we are patriots. Your policies and decision-making in regards to flooding our communities with undocumented military-aged men is not acceptable. We will not sit back any longer and watch our culture and religion destroyed by the people we put in power. Also, the sexual indoctrination of our children in schools has not went unnoticed either. The New Republican movement will take immediate action against anyone who threatens our ways of life and the safety of our women and children. We have your addresses and know your movements. Every one of you are legitimate targets as of today. The New Republican Movement, 28th of 11/25.
That's a new Republican movement that's kicked off in Ireland, that started in Ireland. That video came out yesterday or over the weekend, I believe. And they are talking about effectively taking the streets back, protecting the Irish people, and taking action against anyone they consider to be a danger or a threat to Ireland and to the Irish people. Am I condoning that? No, absolutely 100% not. So please don't put me in that camp. What I'm trying to demonstrate is that when you have a complete lack of political leadership, when it's perceived that the leaders of a country, the leaders in politics have completely let their people down, then this is what happens. Something steps in to fill that gap and you don't know what that's going to be. And sometimes you might be better off accepting a movement like we have in England and in the UK than what you currently got in Ireland. So why has that come about in Ireland? Well, it's because for 100 years or so, the IRA and Sinn Féin, and again, I'm not going into the politics of this, fought the British supposedly to win the freedom of the people of Ireland. and they supposedly were on the side of the people of Ireland. I'm not going into that. I'm not talking about that whatsoever, but that was their reason for being, supposedly. It's unarguable that in the last 20 to 25 years of their existence, they basically morphed from being what they said they were on the tin to effectively becoming a money-grabbing gangster unit. And it's also unarguable that in the last 15 years, both of those groups, both the military IRA and the political Sinn Féin, have utterly and totally betrayed the Irish people. They've completely sold out. They've completely allowed Ireland to become effectively overrun. And they've created a complete vacuum. The Irish people are in despair. They don't know what to do. They don't know what's going on. And look at who has stepped into the vacuum. Masked men, fully balaclavaed up, holding automatic weapons. Is that what we want in the UK? Is that what we want in England? Of course we don't. 100% not. We need to do absolutely everything in our power to prevent that from happening. But the political classes, not just in Ireland, but across the whole of the EU and in the UK, seem to be oblivious to what they're creating. They seem to just think that the populations of these countries are just going to sit back and accept what's going on, accept what they can see around them, accept what they can see in their towns. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen. People are not just going to accept these things. And something is going to step into the vacuum. So the media, the political classes, particularly in England, should probably be grateful for what we have currently in England. They should be grateful for the Unite the Kingdom movement. They should be grateful for people like Ben Habib, Rupert Lowe, Nigel Farage, because they 100% are not what you've got in Ireland. And yet, if you continue to sideline them, if you continue to ignore them, if you continue to demonise them, if you continue to slander them, unfortunately, that's what we could end up getting. And we have to do everything we can to stop that happening. So when you read all these headlines, slating Tommy, slating Ben Habib, slating Nigel Farage, calling them fascists, calling them far right, calling them extremists, just have a little pause for thought and compare to what actually goes on in some other countries. Compare to what they've actually got now in Ireland. Compare to what, unfortunately, sadly, seems like is going to happen in Ireland. And take a step back and think, well, maybe we should be talking to these people. Maybe it's preferable to talk to them rather than to just completely sideline, ignore them, and then we don't know what's coming next. Nature abhors a vacuum. Go and look it up. Aristotle. It's very important and it's very relevant.
This is John, the Ordinary Guy Rant, reporting for Urban Scoop. If you're interested in independent news, independent views and independent journalism, then please follow us. You can't believe what the mainstream media and corporate bias is saying to us now, so please keep following. If you'd like to follow us, go to urbanscoop.news/support-us. You can also follow me on social media at Facebook, YouTube, TikTok and X. My handle is @TheOrdinaryGuyRant.